Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a past life regression hypnosis session with a volunteer that very kindly volunteered to be a guest on a session. Normally, as you know, it's impossible to tell who I'm working with on my hypnosis sessions because the identity of all my clients are completely confidential. There is no way of knowing who I work with for any of my paid clients. The reason that I was asking for volunteers for past life regression sessions is that I've got two different concepts for a TV show that I'm going to be pitching to different production companies and needed real examples to help with those concepts and pitch decks. And in this case, you will hear a volunteer called Megan. You will hear her voice in the session. And it's worth me saying that I'm still looking for volunteers. I've now created a Google form, so if you like the idea of a free past life regression hypnosis session and don't mind being recorded and having your voice heard on the audio, click the Google form in the show notes and you can volunteer for a future past life hypnosis session. What you're going to hear in this session is a metaphor of a magic lake with portals. That was the device used to access a past life. And in this particular case, the volunteer found a life of hardship, of adversity, but going through that led to incredible feelings of inner strength, influence, status, and power, but only because of the hardship that they went through. So this is probably about half an hour hypnosis session, followed by a quick interview at the end to get some information from the volunteer as to their experiences and what they noticed and what they found. So if you like the idea of being a volunteer in a future session, click the link in the show notes to volunteer. But for now, experience this and by all means feel free to go along with the session yourself. It might be that this actually takes you to a different thought, a different idea. And the important thing to emphasize is that you don't have to believe in past lives for past life regression to be effective. It can be perceived to be a useful metaphor to access a previous moment, a time that can lead to something useful and empowering for you. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, become aware of the equilibrium in your body. If you need to shift your weight to position your body in a way to feel more relaxed. As you breathe in and breathe out, just move your body. Maybe position your head or your neck in a way where it becomes natural for you to feel deeply comfortable and relaxed. As you breathe in, just imagine breathing in a bright, vibrant color of resourceful relaxation. Breathing in that bright, vibrant color, feeling a wonderful feeling of relaxation and resourcefulness going in through your nose into your body And as you exhale, just allowing feelings of tension, stress, or worry to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. So simply by breathing in and breathing out, you begin to feel slowly but surely deeper and deeper relaxed. And maybe there's signs of tension around your eyelids, in your jaw, maybe in your forehead. So as you breathe in and breathe out, give permission to yourself to release that tension now, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed just by breathing in and breathing out. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine there is a different planet in a different solar system, in a different galaxy, a beautiful planet, a magical planet, a planet where the oxygen is richer, that simply by being in that place and breathing in and breathing out, the body heals. I want you to imagine somewhere in that magical planet is a beautiful forest next to a beautiful lake. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine you're drifting towards that forest, almost like a bird from above. Just imagine you're drifting to that place, and you can see somewhere in that magical forest is a cabin. Maybe it's a cabin that looks like a cabin you've seen before. But I want you to imagine this is a different cabin in a different forest, in a different planet, very far away. And I want you to imagine you're drifting down until you're there. This forest is filled with evergreen trees, but the trees are a different species. Maybe they're large, they've got a distinctive smell, but different from any earth trees. And part of the magical properties of these trees is they don't just emit oxygen as many trees do. People say that trees are the lungs of the planet. But I want you to imagine that these particular trees emit healing properties. And perhaps you could imagine being on the porch, the deck of that cabin, surrounded by these healing trees, knowing that you're breathing in a high density of oxygen, and here in this place, you're able to breathe in and breathe out, feeling that you're becoming more and more relaxed, but also feeling that whatever needs to be healed within you is being healed. I want you to accept the idea that this nearby lake also has magical properties, that the lake itself is a portal to many different lives, that if you were to swim under the surface of the lake, you would see glowing portals, each portal taking you to a different life. But now just imagine breathing in and breathing out, feeling deeper and deeper relaxed, surrounded by these healing trees, breathing in this healing oxygen, feeling so deeply relaxed, calm and comfortable. When your unconscious mind is ready to go back in time to visit a previous life, let me know by nodding your head. So I want you to imagine you're now wearing whatever clothing is appropriate to swim in this lake, but this isn't a cold lake. The water is warm, almost like having a relaxing bath. And I want you to imagine, because the oxygen is so rich, just a few breaths and you can hold your breath there under the water in this magical planet for hours. And I want you to imagine walking towards this lake, feeling the warm water. And it doesn't matter what time of day it is. Maybe you can feel the sunshine on your skin, or maybe you can see the reflection of the moon, or multiple moons reflecting off the surface of this lake. And as you start to wade into the water, feel the healing properties of this water, feel the warmth of the water, and then imagine taking a few deep breaths in, submerging under the surface of the water, and then imagine you're looking for these glowing portals. These portals might look like spirals or gateways of energy. But I want you to be discerning about which portal you swim through. I want you to imagine perhaps you've had infinite past lives or just thousands. And I want your intuition, your unconscious mind to guide you to a specific past life that you dealt with unimaginable adversity and yet still found some deep well of inner strength and power that enabled you to rise up from the ashes like the phoenix and become strong and powerful, but only after dealing with great challenges. As you hold that thought in mind, I want you to imagine swimming under the surface of this lake. And maybe you can see several portals, or maybe just one. But I want you to keep swimming until you can see a portal that seems to be calling you, seems to be a past life that has had deep adversity followed by inner strength and power. And when your unconscious mind feels like it's guiding you towards such a portal, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to smile to yourself as you swim towards the portal with the intention of swimming through the portal. And as you swim through the portal, it represents, like any doorway or gateway, a threshold from one place to a new place. And I want you to imagine as you go through the portal, you arrive in a new life, in a new world, but as a child in that life. You're no longer underwater, you are in the child version of that past life. If you feel like you're in this new existence, perhaps from many, many lifetimes ago, let me know by nodding your head. And even though you might feel relaxed, I want you to imagine you can narrate your experience, share what you're seeing, and I want you to explore perhaps your home, your town, your village, wherever you live there as a child. And I want you to imagine that you have this ability to share your experiences, describe what you're seeing, and I want you to describe the place where you are.
Okay, so as you're talking, I saw like an angry father type person yelling. And there's a lot of like brown wood, dirt.
How old do you feel like you are in this past life?
Like maybe 4 or 5.
And I want you to explore your surroundings. Just describe maybe the town, the settlement, the environment where you're living.
I would say there are horses, and I think my status is not one of considerable like wealth or anything. It's hardship, not like hardship, but it was interesting when you were describing the doors. The first door that I saw was like a bright pink door. And then as you're talking about like needing to like rise as a phoenix and describing like the path to take, this other like dark blue door kind of like, it felt a lot sadder. But I went through the sad door.
And I want you to imagine looking around and seeing any signs of weirdly technology in this life. And technology back in the past might just be a horse with a cart or tools used. I want you to describe any signs of how long ago this life was.
I'm seeing like wooden technology. What are those, like the gears, like the that turn, like one is this way and one is that way, and they're kind of rotating, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I want you to look at the faces of any people in that environment and just get an idea of the ethnicity, maybe where in the world it feels like you are.
Probably East Asia.
So I want you to imagine there at that time, just going towards wherever you were sleeping. Maybe it's a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and just go to that place, feeling relaxed. And I want you to imagine sleeping there in that life. But as you awake, I want you to imagine you awake at a time of peak adversity, challenge. Only this time, when you awake, I want you to observe your life, see that version of you, maybe older, at the most challenging time of that life. Just waking up there in that past life. But you're now the observer, and I want you to see that version of you at the most challenging, difficult, perhaps even sad time of that life. And when you're observing that, let me know by nodding your head. And you can fast forward in time or rewind, but I want you to hone into the most challenging moment that this life faces. When you're at that point and you can observe what's happening, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine that you are safely protected, you're in a bubble, you're observing. But I want you to narrate and describe what you're seeing in this moment of challenge and adversity.
Boy, like a teenage boy. And there's there's just a lot of weight that he has to deal with. There's violence, maybe, like expectations. I think maybe the father is gone. Maybe he died. I don't think the mom was around, or I don't know. Like happiness was like when I was thinking back to, you said to, go to sleep content, and I was like, oh, that sounds hard. But then I thought, full belly is contentment, and yeah. So I don't know what the challenge is, though.
So I want you to imagine you're now observing this life, and it seems like it's the life of someone young, but with much more responsibility proportioned to their age. Other people that would normally be there to help aren't there. So maybe you're observing someone with a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibilities, without the knowledge, the skill to navigate and handle those responsibilities. And I want you to imagine now stepping into that version of you, feeling the weight of expectation, of pressure, perhaps of knowing that if you don't work hard, there's no food on the table. Survival is not guaranteed. But I want you to accept the suggestion that this hardship, this pressure, this expectation is making you stronger. The adversity is making you strong. And sometimes they say that tall trees in environments where there's never any wind are weak trees. The strongest trees have withstood the most violent of storms. And I want you to imagine experiencing the hardship of being this person living at this time. Maybe there was violence. Maybe there was hunger. Maybe there was challenges, coldness. But I want you to experience this hardship with the belief that this is making you stronger. Like the trees in the storm, any storm you can withstand means you can withstand future storms of a similar intensity. So day after day, feel like you're experiencing hardship, maybe loss, grief, illness, hardship after hardship after hardship, until you move forward, until you realize how strong you've become. That at the time what felt unimaginably painful and difficult in this life was exactly what you needed to become stronger than you ever were before. And when you feel like you're tapping into not the pain or the adversity, but now the strength, that wellspring of strength and power, and maybe skills and knowledge and wisdom that you didn't have before, when it feels like you're tapping into the resources, let me know by nodding your head. And the clue of having strength is doing something you couldn't have done before. So I want you to go forward in time to the challenge, the test. Everything was leading up to this point. All of that strength and wisdom and power isn't real until it's tested. And I want you to move forward until you reach the test. And when you're at that point, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to feel like you're experiencing the test, but describe it as it's happening.
It's hard for me to know if this is like the test, but like the thing that I'm seeing as you're speaking is like battle, like a warrior type, like very strong, very which I guess it takes a lot to do that. Yeah, like a warrior strength in that sense. And I just see like fighting, but probably a feeling of also success.
So it feels like in this moment there was a battle, there was a war, but you were victorious in this battle. And did that lead to increase status, influence after this battle?
Yes.
And I want you to move forward. The calm after the storm. The realization that you were stronger than you ever thought possible. More powerful than you ever thought possible. And I want you to scan your body for where you feel that feeling of inner strength and power. When it feels like you can tap into that location, that feeling, just let me know by pointing to the very location you feel that resource of strength and power within you.
I guess it's here.
Is there a color attached to that feeling?
Yeah, like gold, like pride, like.
I want you to feel that feeling of gold, pride, and power expanding. You can feel it glowing and growing, and feel it's rippling to every cell in your body. And I want you to attach a sound to this feeling of gold, glowing energy there in your chest. And I want you to tell me what sound seems to come up in your mind.
Even before you said that, as you were asking about the aftermath, after the storm, the sentence that came up was like, this person felt proud that he didn't become his father. Like the father person was a big
taking a different path.
Like he like went down a path of like conquest and strength and power, and yet maybe was haunted by the violence of his childhood and did not become that.
Amazing.
Even though he had.
So I want you to breathe in, breathe out, and feel like you're tapping into that gold glow of strength and power. But not the power that comes from a bullying father. The power that comes from cultivating true inner strength, inner belief, a feeling that your resources exceed the demands of your surroundings. That when the challenges come, you have that belief in your ability to rise to the challenge. Because the battles in life often are not men with swords. The battles in life can be doubt, fear, hesitation or confusion. And I want you to feel with this golden glow of energy there in your chest that you feel more prepared forever than the battles and challenges of your future. And if you feel like you're tapping into that resource, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to go forward in this life, perhaps to the final year of your existence, looking back on a life where you appreciate your adversity, appreciate the challenges of your childhood, appreciate the difficulties because that's what made you stronger. And that strength served you well, to yourself, but perhaps to the next generations. Perhaps you became a leader, someone influential in your community, in your society. But you make the evaluation that none of that would have happened if you didn't rise to meet the challenges, if you backed away from adversity. Perhaps in this existence you would have been more like the the cowardly father. But here, in this life, in this choice, you became stronger and more powerful because you went through challenges with courage and determination. And as you tap into that courage and determination, feel like you're about to swim through a portal in a different direction, feeling the sensation of liquid on your skin. See perhaps a glowing portal, but I want you to see that the blue never represented sadness. It represented strength. The challenge was what was needed to unlock the power. So as you swim back through the other side of that portal, feel yourself in that lake. Feel you're swimming to the surface and then walking out of the lake, breathing in the incredible oxygen, feeling the healing properties of those magical trees, perhaps drying yourself off going into a cabin. And then imagine floating up over the cabin, the forest, the lake, traveling through time and space to different galaxies, all the way back to your own solar system. See planet Earth almost like you're a satellite orbiting the Earth. I want you to see your country. Feel like you're zooming in. See your home where you live, and imagine you're seeing a version of you slightly changed, tapping into resources that have echoed now through different lives all the way into your life. And feel that feeling of courage and pride and power and inner strength deep within you as you feel like you're reconnecting with your current self. Now back in your body as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. As very soon I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, powerful, strong, and from this point forward looking at adversity and challenge as a way that will make you stronger than ever before. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Okay, Megan, so I'm still recording here. Just turn that off. First of all, how did you find that? What was that experience like?
It was interesting.
What were you surprised by?
I guess the characters that kind of like came to mind for me was surprising. Yeah.
And was it your interpretation? Was it that your imagination was taking you on a journey, or did it feel like perhaps this was a past life?
I don't know. I mean, who knows? For me, I was just trying to represent the first thing that came to my mind,
Mm-hmm.
as being guided. And so, yeah, I mean, to me, anything is possible, you know?
Mm. And what was the key insight or value that you got from that journey?
You know, it's interesting. I'm not close at all with my mom or my father. There's a lot of parental struggle with my mom. She's always thought of me as kind of a dark person. Or just, you know, she's got her own trauma. And so I thought that was interesting that I went, though, like the dad and the son route. What was your original question? Sorry. Like, what did I get from?
Yeah. Was there any kind of value or insight that you got from that?
I think it was just this sense of journeying was very interesting to me. And the experience of doing that was, it like opens up little like circuits, I feel like, in your brain or your emotions. And so you can tap into different aspects of either self or experience that maybe you would not have because you're so typically locked into this one life. And so, and maybe that's like the power of like film and storytelling and, over generations, like we've always been into stories, and I think it's like a way to tap into these other lives that give us an experience or an understanding of ourselves. And I guess that's what I got from it. That's, yeah.
And when you were feeling that you were going through the adversity, did that feel like it was heavy? Did it feel like it was a challenging time?
The adversity time felt, yeah. So overall, the whole thing felt kind of like I couldn't pinpoint the actual concrete details, but the adversity did feel, yeah, it felt challenging, and I was much younger than I would have expected. Like I said, like it was like a teenager type, and then like the big peak adversity time was a time of power and strength. But there was a readiness for it, which I guess is good. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah, I
that was
mean,
accumulated or developed over time. I don't know.
I think it becomes a choice, and I think what came up for me as the observer in that session is that it seems like the father of the son also had adversity, also had challenges, but made the decision to back away from those challenges, and probably was resentful and probably felt insecure or lacking in some way, and perhaps took it out on the people around them. But in the son character that you were, it was kind of like sometimes there's a resolution to not follow in your father's footsteps and to be someone different. And it seemed to me like that knowledge or the path of not what to take, of taking a different path, actually helped to become someone in that life that was more powerful, strong, and influential, but not necessarily because they were destined for that, but because it was a conscious choice to follow a different path. That's almost the sense that I got.
Yeah, like you see the contrast. You're like, no, I don't want that. I'm not going to go that direction. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I could see that. I wish I had more detail as to like overall, the feeling was a lot of simplicity. Like, and I kind of wish there was more detail as to how or the choices that were made to develop from point A to point B, that struggling point over to the point where he is at that peak kind of like battle moment, which there were many battles, I think, and just like accumulated, but like what took him from that like brokenness to the strength,
Yeah.
arc. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of the crossroads. And it's highly likely that at some point it was one of two things: either a decision, which it is for most people, or finding, sometimes people become the accidental hero. So there's many stories of people in all different situations. They just happen to be in an extreme circumstance, and that they find that their character goes one way that even surprises them. But now they have a label. They have a label of being a hero, being strong, being powerful, and that feels so much better than the person they were before. So sometimes it's just positive reinforcement, but rarely is it always conscious. But either way, in that particular life, it reached a point where the adversity was seen as a gift rather than a curse, which seemed like it was in contrast to the father. When you were, either observing or experiencing, were there any kind of clues as to kind of the country and the world that you were, or the time? Was it kind of, part? I was trying to figure out: is it kind of like, kind of ancient China where there's the kind of the battles with the Mongols, or was it kind of like the samurai of Japan? Were there any clues based on clothing or buildings or anything like that?
Not so much. Everything was very zoomed in, I would say. Like the texture of the wood, for example, or definitely dark hair. Like I saw dark hair. In terms of the time period, there weren't guns or anything. It was, yeah, before that. I don't know what those came around.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so I got the sense that it was kind of Asian, but Asia's a very big continent.
Yeah, Asia. I don't know.
So it's kind of Oriental Asia as opposed to, let's say, Indian Asia or...
Yeah, that would be like more south. Yeah, I would say like East Asian area.
Yeah. Okay. And anything else that...
Not Japan, I don't think.
What's that, sorry?
Not Japan.
Not Japan. Okay.
Yeah, I think it.
Okay, we've narrowed it down to about 50 other countries. Was there anything else that...
Japanese acupuncture, so...
Oh, okay, so you have a point of reference to know it's not that. Well, thank you so much, Megan, for volunteering, and this will be going out, I'm sure, very soon on the podcast, so thank you again for volunteering.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.